Hello, everybody. Welcome to this wrap-up episode of Beware the Board, a horror podcast where we watch a randomly selected horror movie every single week. I'm Bob.
I'm Ben.
Hey, Ben.
Hello.
Oh, you seem down in the dumps, buddy.
No, this is just my normal me.
Okay.
Anyways.
Aren't you glad to be finally done with season 12?
Oh my god, yes. That lasted so long.
Way too long.
I think we started in December-ish. I don't think we started in November, but I think we started in December, and it's the end of March right now.
Mm-hmm. Longest season ever.
Yeah.
Same number of episodes. Longest season ever.
Honestly, by the time this comes out, it will be the very end of March.
Yeah, no, it'll be like the 20-something, right? 27th or something?
This comes out on, I think, the 28th.
So right at the end of March.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wild.
I just like, it's so weird. We've never taken this long to get through a whole season. I barely remember how we started.
I know.
Which is
Hopefully
so
never
weird.
again. It was so long.
It was just, it was rough. I'm excited for the new season though. I really, really want to pitch good categories and get some cool movies.
Good categories is subjective.
Sure.
Because if you don't know, we've kind of already discussed what categories we're picking this season off the podcast.
Yeah, which we normally don't do. Normally we'll save our categories and it will be kind of a surprise for the both of us. But I kind of said to Ben, I'm pitching a category. And we made this deal 3 years ago.
Beginning of the podcast, yeah.
Yeah, before we'd even put out like an episode or something. Like we talked about this. The category I'm pitching is going to be, as sort of a spoiler, notoriously probably not great movies.
And I decided to do that as well.
So it's going to be two categories with pretty bad movies, and then the random, which could be really good or really bad.
Yeah.
But before we get there, we have to wrap up the rest of this season. Now, Benjamin, I do have a question. I asked this to you a while ago. Do you have a season name? We came up with one, but for the life of me, I can't remember it. We did it in the car on the way to like...
Me driving you to your house.
Was it you take me home or were we getting lunch or something? I think
was
we
driving
discussed it
you
over
home.
lunch or I don't remember. But what is this season's name, Ben?
Get to the chopper, boys. Tim Curry wants in.
Which I think is a good encapsulation of the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
We get to the chopper for Arnold, the boys, as in, well, the boys from County Hell, and also the Lost Boys.
It was more specifically to the Lost Boys.
But, you know, it's in there. Thematically relevant. And then Tim Curry from It.
He's a
For the
clown.
clowns. Yeah. So, one of our better ones, I think. There's some rough season names out there. We kind of don't think about it too much.
Nope.
Okay. Where do you want to start, Ben?
All right. Well, did you have any news to share?
No, I think I'll save it.
Okay, then we're just going to get into it. So, this season we had 3 categories. If you don't remember, we had Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, which was mine.
Mm-hmm.
Our random, which was vampires, and I'm pretty sure that was Bob's.
I think so. I
From
think
way
I put
back
that
in
in
the
there a
day.
while ago.
And then your actual category this season, which was clowns. So it was a little bit all over the place, but it was a decent season.
I would say it was pretty good.
It was spread out during a third of the year.
Yeah.
With that being said, we'll just start with the easy thing. What was your favorite and least favorite category?
So this is really hard. A, because all of the Arnold movies are really, 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 really good. But B, I really, really, really liked a lot of the clown movies and the vampire movies too. I think I'm going to say vampires?
As your favorite?
Yes.
And then least favorite?
Clowns.
Fair.
Even though, I'm going to be honest, I liked all the categories a lot this season. They were all very good.
No, yeah. I'm kind of in a similar boat where Arnie films and vampires, I think, are tied for favorite category. I think I'm going to go with Arnie films
I mean, that's fair.
just because as a whole, like all 3 of them, I think average out to be better. I do like Kronos, but it definitely has its weak points.
Fair.
Let the Right Ones In is amazing. And then The Lost Boys is
Fun.
fun and cheesy, but, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's an 80s movie. Clowns is definitely my least favorite because I think we definitely had the weakest films in there.
Yeah, and that sucks because I don't think that's the thing I hate about doing least favorite and favorite is like I liked all the films. So it feels bad to like shit on them, but I think I'm in agreement. Like a lot of the clown movies I think were more horror centric in some ways, which felt weird this season considering all the other films we watched.
Yeah. With that out of the way, though, we'll just go through the categories and then do favorite and least favorite movie. So we're going to start with Arnie films. If you don't remember, our films in that category are The Terminator, Predator, and Total Recall. So what was your favorite this season?
You
Because
know
there's
it
only
is.
one good Arnie film, as Bob has stated.
You're right. It's Total Recall. Total
Actually,
Recall is by far my favorite.
You said it was Predator, but okay, sure. Change your mind now.
No, Total Recall is my favorite. That's by far. The Terminator's great. Don't get me wrong. It's a fantastic film. It deserves all the praise. Same with Predator. But I personally am just such a fan of like sci-fi stuff. And man, I really like Total Recall. I just think the scale of Total Recall is the thing that gets me every time.
No, it's a very impressive movie. I think I'm going to go with The Terminator.
Totally fair.
Just because I really like that film, and I really like when films take a genre that already exists. So in this case, slasher movies, and do something really creative with it. Like having a killer robot from the future.
Yeah.
Plus, I think about that and I can't help but think of the rest of the franchise, which definitely has some stinkers.
Sure.
But it's still a cool franchise.
I get that.
Least favorite?
It sucks that I have to say Predator, right?
Yeah. That's where I am at, too. I'm going to say Predator as well.
Even though that's such a good movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh.
It's one of those perfect, like, examples of 80s, like, action stuff where it's so over the top. And then the switch to, like, a survival horror is
so good.
So good. But as far as horror movies go, only the back half is horror.
I would say the only horrifying part is seeing the Predator's ugly face.
I don't know. He fucks up those guys.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's a good movie, but I think it's less solid as a film than the other two.
Agreed. But I think that's because it leans probably a little too hard into the action movie aesthetic.
I mean, that's part of the point.
It is part of the point, but I'm saying I don't think that makes it... I think that makes it a weaker film comparatively.
That is fair. For me, though, I also think just the Predator is less intimidating than the Terminator.
Fair. I would say the Predator is more horrifying actively, just because I don't like the way he looks, but I get it.
That's fair. I think, like, copies are pretty scary.
That's fair. No, I totally get that.
Like, the Thing is basically similar. It looks like a human.
Yeah.
But it's not. Plus, Terminator survived being blown up.
So true.
You know who didn't survive being blown up?
The Predator.
The Predator.
Yeah.
He did laugh, though.
He did laugh. You think the Terminator could take the Predator to fight?
Yes.
No, right?
Why no?
Well, because the Predator has, like, the crazy, like, space technology. You just
So-
blow him up.
You have to remember, the Terminators are from the future and have all that technology. They just can't bring it back.
Okay.
So assumedly we'd be dealing with a Terminator from the future that has all the tech. And also, you have just seen a T-800. There's other Terminators, and they are scary as fuck.
Hold on, what?
Yeah.
There's more than one Terminator?
Well, yeah, first of all, like, there's more models.
Well, yeah. Sorry, there's more than, like, that version of Like, I thought there was just one version of Terminator.
What's the T-800?
Yeah, I thought that's where it stopped.
That's
I thought
8
we were
series in.
8. Okay. It's good to know, I guess.
I think the earliest one we see is a T-600, though.
Yeah, because they mentioned them in the movie. Like, they have rubber skin, and they're, like, really weird.
They are basically murder drones that are shaped like people.
Nice.
I think we see one in one of the later movies. Definitely less scary than a T-800. In either case, moving on to vampires. Honestly, I think this one might be an easier one for me, because I have a clear favorite. But Bob, what's your favorite film in the vampire category?
Okay. We mentioned it earlier. Ben mentioned it. Kronos is, I think, very good. But I do agree has some rough spots. And you can tell it's Del Toro's, like, earliest film. Like, you can tell he's early on in his career. You can tell that it's sort of workshopped a lot. But then that leaves me with Let the Right One In, and The Lost Boys. And those are just two very different movies.
Oh, they are on the exact opposite end of the spectrum.
It's like, what do I choose? Do I choose a fun, goofy, like, coming-of-age teen vampire movie? Or do I choose just, like, a really, really dark, sad, horrible, somber film?
I think it's all down to preference, right?
Yeah, and I think I'm choosing the horrible, dark, sad film. I think Let the Right One In is my favorite. Because it's probably the best vampire movie in the category, like, just objectively. But also, I felt pretty empty after watching it, and a movie doing that to me is pretty impressive nowadays. I've come to take a lot from this podcast, so
Yeah, Let the Right One In's also my favorite because, like you said, I think it's objectively the best film on that category spot.
It's a film for film people.
Yeah, but also it was just really fun. Like I enjoyed it a lot.
No, it's a really good movie.
For as little that happened and for as dark as it gets, I had a great time.
I mean, I think that's emphasized by the scene in the hospital. Like, the scene in the hospital is like peak for that movie. Like, that is insane that they did that.
Yeah. Like to see more stuff by that director.
No, me too. It's really
Slash
fucking cool.
Writer, because, he's the novelist. Well, the writer's the novelist.
Mm-hmm.
Director's a different guy. But yeah, pretty cool. Least favorite?
I already spoiled it. It's Kronos.
Kronos.
Not because I don't like it, because I do really like it. I think Ron Perlman's great. I think he does an awesome job. I like Del Toro's style. I like his interesting take on vampires. I like a lot of the theming, but it's rough around the edges. And it needs some more, like, I think I said it on the episode, but if Del Toro remade that movie now, it would go fucking crazy.
Yeah. I'm also going to put Kronos as my least favorite film. But I do want to note, like you said, it's because it's how rough it is. But, like, thematically and story-wise, I think I like Kronos better than I do The Lost Boys.
Oh, 100%. I'm in agreement.
The Lost Boys is really, really fun, but Kronos is it has so much depth about it.
There's so much heart behind it. Like, you can really feel a lot of what is going on in that movie, and that just, I think it brings it above The Lost Boys in a couple of ways in that aspect.
But it's just not as polished as I want it to be.
Yeah.
And The Lost Boys pulls off what it's doing, like, almost perfectly. Like, it's a great movie. I don't want it to sound like it's bad. It is probably one of the best 80s vampire movies we've watched. I think it goes, oh my God, what's it called?
Fright Night.
Fright Night, and then The Lost Boys.
Agreed. I would say that's pretty high up there.
For, like, 80s films there. But, yeah. And then last category is clowns. We'll start with least favorite, because I think that's going to be more obvious. For me, it was Hell House LLC. Because, honestly, if you're not afraid of clowns, while it, I think, is effective as a scary movie, it has a lot of weak points, especially with, like, stuff going on. Like, there's not a lot going on outside of the jump scares. And then when you watch it a second or a third time, it starts to get pretty boring. Like, I remember it being very effective the first time I watched it, and I've watched it now a couple times, and I'm just like, yeah, it's whatever.
Yeah, I think it's one of those films that the initial watch is the best way to view it.
Yeah.
There's just not a lot of rewatch value because a lot of what it does is super surface level. There's not a lot of deeper stuff to really dig into. And the deeper stuff they do give you is, I would say, resolved by the end of the film.
Or half explained.
Or half explained, yeah.
And then they're going to explain it in the
many sequels.
Yeah.
They're coming out with a new one. Did you see that?
No, you told me a while ago.
No. A different new one.
Oh.
A new one. That's not the new one that just came out.
I mean, it just prints money. Like, it's pretty cheap to make a found footage film. So for one to still be successful right now, because we kind of killed it in the early 2000s with Paranormal Activity. It's pretty great for studios.
No, it's cool. And once again, it's not that it is a bad movie. I think it's actually a pretty effective found footage film. And I think the premise alone is pretty interesting, and they do some cool stuff with it.
Probably should have stayed a single film.
Probably.
That's
You're
kind of
not
my
wrong.
thoughts on Paranormal Activity, too. But
yeah, I think I'm in agreement. I think Hell House is probably also my least favorite, which kind of sucks, because I want to say it's the movie that freaked me out the most this season.
You can't really remember, because it was...
No, it was so long ago, but I do remember
ago.
it freaking me out.
Oh, I do, too. You were petrified. And then I guess favorite, which is a little bit more tricky. I think I know the answer from Bob, but we had Killer Clowns from Outer Space, or It.
From 1990.
From 1990.
You gotta be specific, buddy.
Well, no, I don't, because it's It Part 1 and It Part 2.
Is it really? Is that how they're
think so.
actually named? That's stupid, and I don't like that. I mean, I think my answer is obvious, because, I said it on the episode, but I said Killer Clowns was like the peak of clown movie cinema, and I'm in agreement still. I still think Killer Clowns is the peak of clown movie cinema.
Oh, it's all just clowning.
It is the most clown-themed movie we watched.
And the Ferenzi brothers?
And the Terenzi brothers are pretty great.
Actual clowns.
Actual clowns. No, and that is nothing against the It from the 90s, but first of all, it was a very long day when we watched that. That's like a 3.5 hour long movie, which, we didn't know going in, so it was kind of a surprise.
I mean, we figured as much, but...
Yeah, but just a lot of the stuff in that is TV quality and made for TV. You know what I mean? And so it doesn't come off as cinematic as a piece as Killer Clowns does. Like, yes, Killer Clowns looks cheap and it's a B movie, and like I get that, but it feels much more like a put together film than it does.
I mean, I think the best example is the fact that when people think clown horror movies, they usually think Killer Clown from Outer Space.
Yeah. So
That's your favorite?
yeah.
Okay. I was kind of in a tough spot with this one. I think I'm also going to go with Killer Clowns from Outer Space because I think you make a good point about it being just such an obvious clown film. But the thing I want to note is in the It 1990 miniseries, we have Tim Curry playing Pennyworth the Clown. And I think Pennywise. I'm very tired. Pennywise the Clown. And he's by far the best clown we saw this season.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm honestly almost on the fence of giving it the first spot for me just because of how good his performance is. So I want to note that. I'm not going to, but like
It's close.
he does such a great job in that film. It really does bring up the quality of something that probably would be
Okay.
to, oh, this is memorable.
No, that's fair.
All right, and then I guess last thing, favorite and then least favorite movie for the entire season.
See, this is where I'm at. Like, I'm at a loss. I literally couldn't tell you, dog. I couldn't tell you, but I'm going to anyway. Let's tell you that much. It's Killer Clowns.
That was your favorite?
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised by that.
I have to give it to Killer Clowns.
Not Total Recall?
No, but I think that's only because I like Total Recall. I think it's a great movie. I think it's really, really awesome, and I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to. But coming into the season, you know, I don't know what movie we're going to watch every episode, so I have to come in with, like, different expectations based on what we watched the previous week. But, like, I love Total Recall. It's great. Killer Clowns is, like, on another level in terms of, like, being a good alien invasion movie while also being funny about clowns, which is weird, and then also having really, really good practical effects. Like, it's just such a weird mashup of stuff that should not function together, but it does in a really interesting and cool way. And that's why I think I gave it to Killer Clowns over Total Recall. Because I think Total Recall, in the concept, is fairly straightforward sci-fi. Like, that a lot of the ideas that exist in that film are ideas that exist in the sci-fi genre as a whole.
But hear me out. Do 3 boobs raise the film?
Yes, but it doesn't change my answer.
Okay.
And so I just think Killer Clowns mashing all this stuff together is just so much more unique of an experience that I'm going to give it to that over Total Recall.
I guess they have inflatable boobs and
Killer Clowns.
Killer Clowns.
Yeah. It's about size, not quantity, Benjamin.
What the Trendy brothers are going, does she have roommates with huge boobs?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. For me, my favorite was Let the Right One In. I think that was
fair.
my favorite film we watched this whole season. Not only because it was really unique, but to be honest, I think it's the only one I might not have seen.
Mm-hmm.
I think I saw everything else. There's a couple films. I think Kronos and The Lost Boys are kind of in that category. I might have seen them, but it's long enough ago that I don't really remember.
That's fair.
But I'd heard about Let the Right One In a long time ago. Basically avoided spoilers and have been waiting to watch it. So it was really cool to finally see it, and it was as good as I was expecting.
It was definitely, like, objectively one of the best films we watched this season.
Yeah.
It might be the best, but then you get into weird stuff with, like, Terminator and...
But not your favorite.
No.
Yeah. All right. I guess that's it for wrap-up stuff.
Yeah. A whole season.
Yeah. Okay, so normally we start with our random category. I think we should start with our actual categories
Agreed.
first this season because Bob already told me his. I know he knows mine.
Yeah.
We'll set the base tone for what this season's gonna be.
We have to preface this season. That's how wild it's gonna get.
If it's bad, blame Bob.
If it's bad, it's also your fault. Because I once again said you don't have to do this, and you said, "Well, I do."
I do.
Yeah. See, so there are options. Okay.
You kick this off.
I'm not forcing
And
anyone's hand.
if it's great, it's all on me
because you let me do it.
because I let you do.
Okay. So I'm gonna preface this whole conversation with: we all know I love bad movies. It might be my favorite kind of movie is a bad movie. Okay. And we have talked about it quite a bit on the podcast recently. The Toxic Avenger is getting a remake, and it's coming out in August. And before that comes out, I want to rewatch The Toxic Avenger. That is one of my goals here. But I want to do it on the podcast. So I was like, okay, what categories could I pitch where I could basically sort of tell Ben that I want The Toxic Avenger to be an option? So I was like, okay, I could do like radioactive waste. I could do mutants. There are a couple of things I could do. But then I was like, what makes the Toxic Avenger the way it is? Like, why is that movie what gives it its like je ne sais quoi? Like, what is it, right?
No one has ever used that term and Toxic Avenger in the same sentence.
And then I realized it's because Trauma makes it. It's a trauma movie at its heart.
Oh, I'd say it's probably the trauma movie.
That or Tromeo and Juliet. Tromeo and Juliet is incredible. Also wild. So that's my category. My category is films made by trauma films, which means they're all probably going to be really bad, but I'm going to have a good time.
Oh, it's going to be hard to talk about because they really push the envelope with what's okay.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to note right now, warning for like content next season. Trauma especially does some questionable shit.
They push the limits.
Yeah, and sometimes it's a little uncomfortable. I think we're going to have to talk about it because that's part of the movie, but sometimes they do some racist ass shit, and yeah, it's not great. So yeah, that's what Bob's doing. I do want to point out, for your whole Toxic Avenger rant, I don't actually have to put Toxic Avenger on here.
You don't, but I want
think
you
it's
to.
So funny.
Oh, you fucker. I didn't even think. I thought you would be nice, Ben. I thought we were friends, bro.
I can put anything on here, and it can definitely be none of the trauma movies you like.
Just don't make me watch Poultrygeist again. I just don't want to watch Poultrygeist again.
I thought you said you did want to watch that one again.
No, I thought about it.
You're like, yeah, you should do Poultrygeist.
Because it was funny when I said it, but in retrospect, I don't want to watch that movie.
That movie's probably one of the most heinous trauma films I've seen.
Oh, yeah.
By far.
It's so gross.
So, yeah, that's trauma stuff. I think it'll also be interesting because this is one of the cases where Bob has definitely seen more trauma films than I have.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting going into a season because it'll be a little different. Normally, Bob has no clue what's going on.
At least now I have a little bit of an idea.
Yeah. Thankfully, though, I don't think he's seen any of them in a long time.
No, I think the last one I watched was probably Class of Nukem High, and that was 2018-ish, probably.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
We'll see how much he remembers. And, you know, like we said, we talked about kind of a plan way early on when we started that if we ever did like a board that had trauma stuff on it, we'd also do Full Moon. So that's what I'm pitching. If you're not familiar with Full Moon Features, it's run by Charles Band, who we met at the convention.
Yep, super cool dude.
Super cool dude. And there's a lot of bad movies that come out of that studio. I think it's, when you're talking bad horror movies, it's Trauma and Full Moon. Those are the two big ones. I would like to point out, though, that Full Moon as a whole, I think, are less shitty. Trauma films tend to have, I think, a higher budget and better production quality, but there's a certain level of grunge to trauma films that Full Moon Pictures usually lacks. They're a little bit more respectable. Not a word I want to use with them, but in comparison
Bro, they made
to Trauma,
the Ginger Dead Man.
Yeah. He also made, I think, Ooga Booga.
Ooga Booga.
Yeah.
There's also all of the Puppet Master movies.
Oof, yeah. There's some rough ones. I'm not trying to say Full Moon stuff is great, but it's bad in a very different way than Trauma films.
It's so true. Trauma is bad because it's bad, right? Like it is bad on purpose. It feels like a lot of the time. Like they know what they're making, so they're leaning into it, and that's what makes it fun and enjoyable. I feel like Full Moon, they also know what they're making, but they're trying not to make it feel like that.
Fair enough. So randoms now. Say your random first, and I'll add it to the list.
So I don't know if you'll actually let me put this in the random, because it's a category we've tossed around the idea of pitching for a long time. But after this season, I felt it was my due diligence, I guess, to put this in the random so that we could eventually get to it instead of putting it off for the next 15 years or whatever the fuck. I'm going to pitch Stephen King adaptations.
Okay. I think that's fair. Do we care what type of Stephen King adaptations?
No.
Okay, just Stephen King in general?
Stephen King.
I think that's pretty good, honestly.
I've wanted to pitch that for a long time. We watched the It from the 90s, and I said, this is a good time. I'm going to get this out of here so we can watch some stuff.
That's fair. Okay. On the other hand, I,
oh my God,
as someone who's in charge of the season, was like, what would be an amazing random category to go with the two pieces of garbage that we already chose? And I was like, what dumpster fire is in my ideas list? And I found a good dumpster fire. It'll keep us nice and warm for all of spring.
Oh my God.
Killer food.
Killer food. Oh, the stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, killer tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. Those are bad, Ben.
But it works perfectly, right?
No, it doesn't. I don't want to sit
Perfectly.
Benjamin, I don't want to sit through the next 9 weeks worth of films and just come out of it feeling awful. No. Oh my god, I really hope we don't get that. I hope we get that on some other season with some pretty serious categories.
I don't know. I think it'd be great to get right now because
No.
it would feel thematically relevant.
It is thematically relevant, but that doesn't mean I like it.
All right, I got to do the whole like roly thing with the
Yeah.
number generator. Jesus Christ. You ready?
Yeah.
Boop.
What'd you get? Does that say 15?
Yes.
Is that the last one? Is
That
that food?
That is the last one.
No way that you actually got it right. No way. Okay. Well, now that that's out of the bag, that's happened. We could talk about something else right now. Before we started, Ben was like, I know we normally like actually make it random, but can I just pick my category for this season? Like
I
random?
was really hoping we'd get it. That's the second time that's happened.
And I was like, no, I think we should leave it up to chance. You know, like I don't want to ruin the integrity of the system. And we got it anyway.
That's the second time that's happened.
Fuck you.
What other season did it do that? Where I
don't
like
remember.
I pitched a category and we immediately got it.
I don't remember. Was it? I don't remember.
It was very early on because you were like, my category's never been picked.
I think it was when we got J-horror in like season 3.
Oh, I think it was J-horror.
You pitched Japanese horror, then we immediately got it. And I was like, this is horrible.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm excited because I think it'll be like sometimes we have seasons that aren't like very good thematically.
Yeah.
I think this one will be really good thematically. I'm also I'm worried.
I'm
'Cause
also worried.
It's gonna be not great.
Yeah. I'm just glad we're getting it out of the way. All 3 of these, actually, in fact.
Yeah, then we'll be done.
Well, I wouldn't say done.
But like we won't have to touch them again
Yeah, until we...
unless we want to.
Yeah, unless it's for something else. Which we might. I don't know. We've talked about revisiting content in the past and doing some extra stuff with it, but we haven't decided anything yet. Okay. I'm excited for season 13.
Are you,
Oh,
though?
it's season 13. It's cursed.
Yeah.
It's the cursed 13th season. It's all bad stuff.
I was waiting until you figured that out.
Fuck you. I hate you. I hate you, and we should end the episode.
You
because
started
now I'm
this.
mad.
You started this.
Do the outro, Ben.
All right. I guess since Bob is kind of too frustrated to speak again, usual spiel, check us out wherever you get podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, other podcast-specific streaming platforms. If you're checking us out on any of those, please give us a quick rating or review. That really helps us out with getting some traction over there. However, if you really want to help us out, please recommend the podcast to a friend. I know sometimes we have stinkers for seasons. Hint, hint, maybe the next one. But, you know, we really appreciate that. That makes you a cool dude. With that being said, one of the big places you can check us out and show us some support is YouTube, which is weird for audio-only content, but it does have some things you might be interested in. First of all, you can like and subscribe to our channel, which we love to see because viewer engagement keeps us going. In fact, we feed on viewer engagement.
It's how we sustain ourselves.
Yes. Otherwise, cool tools YouTube has. It has a bell button, which lets you get notified whenever we post something new in case we're posting something out of our usual scheduled format, like a holiday episode. I know other services like Spotify also have that, but maybe you want to do it on YouTube. But kind of the biggest interesting thing YouTube provides is a search function on our channel page where you can search key terms in all our videos. So in case you're trying to look for something like, I don't know, a movie title to see if we've covered it, that's a good way to check because we've covered almost 200 movies at this point.
We're getting there.
Which is, oh my God, so many.
It's a lot.
I don't even know how many hours that is. That's like close to what, 300-400 hours?
Probably.
Yeah. So, might be useful because I don't even remember
No.
how much stuff we've covered.
We've covered so many films at this
I
point.
could not list them all.
No. I could get close.
Maybe.
But I'd be missing probably like 20-ish.
Yeah. With that being said, the biggest thing with YouTube is it's one of the 2 major places to communicate with us at. You can do that in the comment section of a specific video. Talk to us about something in that episode, or you can go over to Twitter or X at Beware the Board and go chat up Bob. You know, maybe give him some actually good categories for next season.
Hey, my random was good.
Your random was good. However, that one was not chosen.
Well, whose fault is that? That's everyone's fault. You pressed the button. You are responsible. That is your fault.
Nah, it was Chance. Blame God.
You can't blame Chance for everything, dog. Like Ben said, check us out on Twitter at Beware the Board. It's where we post updates about the show, information about the show. Basically, if there's anything you want to know about the show, it goes on our Twitter. On Mondays, I post a spoiler post for that week's further episodes so that you can watch the film before we do. So if you listen to the episodes, you don't get any spoilers, or we're being vague about stuff, you know what we're talking about. Then on Fridays, or whatever other day the episode goes live, I always post a link to the episode on our Twitter. So if you're missing an upload or want to know what's coming up, there's always a link there. Last thing, we do short form content for the show over on at Beware the Board on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and at Beware the Board on Instagram. We just recently started the Instagram in the past couple weeks. We've been getting a ton of support over there, so I really appreciate it. It's super cool. Very cool comments. I really appreciate you guys engaging. Ben, I just want to let you know, the short clown in Killer Clowns from Outer Space, his name is Shorty.
Is it Shorty?
Yeah.
I was close.
One of our comments let us know that, so I thought I would let you know.
Yeah. I thought it was something like that. But
Yeah.
I think I said on that episode, I'm like, this might be wrong, but I'm just going to call him Tiny anyways.
Yeah. But we appreciate the support on those platforms. So if you want short form content, check out the show at Beware the Board on everything.
Yeah.
Benjamin, I think that's it.
All right. Well, we'll see you next season for something.
We'll see you guys for season 13.